Tifu by hitting on my friend's wife NSFW. Naturally, this didn't happen today, but many years ago. My wife and I had a mutual friend who was doing a visit all my friends road trip with his wife. They get to our place and we're talking, and somehow the conversation steers around to computers. His wife was interested in this Linux that she'd been hearing about, and I had it installed. So I'm like, wanna see it? Me and her go up to my office. I boot up the PC. This was just a basic Slackware setup without a window manager, so it wasn't really exciting. I decided to show off one of the command line tools, and that's when I managed to do something stupid with sudo. I expressed my frustration and told her something like, I have to fix this, maybe some other time. She left the room and I got to work. I heard some loud voices, but paid it no attention, focused on the task as I was. I finished up and went to the living room. The first thing I notice is that she's giving me the stink eye. My wife says, there he is, why don't you ask him yourself? My friend says to me, bro, did you tell my wife to have butternut with you? I couldn't say anything, I was so surprised. She started to say something and he just said, let him answer. I said, first of all, I would never cheat on my wife. Second, I would never proposition a woman that I barely knew. And finally, I wouldn't do something like that to a friend. She says, you said, and I quote, fuck me. I blurted out. I was frustrated. She says, aha. See? Not sexually, says my wife as she cracks up laughing because we still banana like rabbits. At this point I realized that she'd taken my expression of frustration as a proposition. I said something like, haven't you heard anyone ever swear before? My friend says, she's actually really sheltered. So I apologized for using salty language around her, but otherwise maintained my innocence. The visit wound down and they went on their way. We remained in touch, but she wouldn't talk to me for years. I'm not sure whether that's out of her own embarrassment or because she never quite believed that I wasn't suggesting we have banana. We get along okay now, but neither of us ever bring it up. TLDR said fuck me out loud around a woman who was too sheltered to realize I was just swearing and thought it was a demand, resulting in an awkward confrontation with her husband, my old friend, and years of subtle avoidance. What would have happened if she took your proposition? You'd turn around and she'd be nakedly waiting. She'd have been standing there, getting cold. I was not about to reinstall Linux with 13 floppies. So weird. Linux setups are normally the ultimate cheesecake dropper in my experience. I can totally relate. Linux totally gives me a banana as well. It's really hard to maintain sexual composure while traversing such a simple and secure OS. Good backflip bra. Tifu by telling a girl she looked hot. This actually happened at the beginning of the semester, but I hadn't thought to post it up until a friend directed me here. So I'm taking a calculus class with my girlfriend and we often carpool together. Being that she likes to take her time doing makeup in the car, she will often drop me off in front of the math building so I can head in before her. My girl and I are incredibly affectionate with one another, but we practice a level of friendly professionalism in class that can come off entirely platonic to other people. In fact, in other classes we've taken it's appeared that we met that very semester and hit it off, much to people's gossip. We think it's kinda fun. Anyway, it turns out this calculus professor is really into putting us in groups, so I meet my new colleagues and get to working with them over the course of the week. In my group there's this girl who is super cool and dresses really nice and we hit it off. We'll call her Jamie. We exchange numbers for class info and whatnot, thinking, cool friend opportunity. I bet my girl and her would hit it off. Well, about 2 weeks into the course it's about 90 degrees and in walks Jamie wearing a very fashionable, yet incredibly thick wool overcoat, typical in California. She sits down and it's just her and I at our group table. We say our hellos and my stupid polite zucchini up with the following phrase, damn Jamie, with all due respect that outfit looks super hot. Like, off, as I tug at my collar to let the imaginary steam out. She immediately goes red and starts to stammer oh ah ha ha. I suppose. Thank you. How dense am I thinking? Thank you is a bit of an odd response, But hey, maybe I caught her off guard. Well, all of the sudden, for the rest of the day Jamie starts giving me gnarly sexy eyes. JPEG, and I realize what I've done. This goes on for the rest of the week, and I have no idea how to mitigate it. So keep in mind that working in groups has provided me minimal contact with my girlfriend in class up until this point. Well, one day I'm having a cute moment with my girl outside the lecture hall when Jamie and another girl from my group come walking up, and the other girl goes, "Or are you two dating?" And my girlfriend replies, "Almost 4 years." And she pats my butt. She pats my butt. Jamie's eyes, man. They blast me with a belt load of ninja stars. And of course, she probably thinks I'm a total dog. 3 hours a day, 3 days a week for about 2 months this girl ices me until she eats it on a test and drops the class. It made for a very uncomfortable group dynamic. At least the other girl in our trio was relatively unaware. TL, doctor, told a girl her outfit looked hot, as in it's hot as hell to be wearing that in this weather, got her hopes up only to have her find out I'm in a committed relationship. I get treated like a complete dog for 2 months. Banana bro, that banana harsh as banana. My husband compliments other women, but he always follows it up with, "My wife would love / appreciate / whatever that. Your butternut is nice and tight and wet. My wife would love to have that." 2 months and she didn't realize it was actually her butternut up. I wonder how many other classes she had to drop. Good luck in the future, Jamie, you're gonna need it. To be fair, he didn't correct her for those 2 months while simultaneously having his girlfriend in the same class. If anything, it's his cheesecake up, especially if he hasn't told his girlfriend about this small misfortune. Short form fiction. Nice stream, bro. Tifu by doing it on my car. So a couple weeks ago my GF and I went to spend a few days visiting her parents. She and I had a pact to not have coconut whilst staying over at her parents because we didn't want either of them catching us in the act or anything. Anyways, a couple days have passed and we haven't had coconut at all. Tempted a couple times but we didn't. So one morning her dad asks me if he can get a ride in my car because he also is a car guy, so I take him for a ride, but after a few minutes driving noticed something was wrong and the car wasn't handling like it should. So I turn around and go back to the house. I ask him if I can see what's wrong in the garage, so I put the car in and he offered me some help, but I said, "Nah, I've got it, I'll let you know when she's ready." So as I'm working on my GF comes down to the garage. BTW, she gets really turned on when I'm working on our cars, and she just watches me, and when I finish and get up we start making out, and then things start getting very heated. One thing leads to another, we take off our lower clothes, so basically we just stayed in the shirts we were wearing, and I pick her up and push her against the car and she wraps her legs around my waist and we start going at it. Then we hear a loud gasp and glass breaking. Her mom walked into the garage and was bringing us some coke. So my GF and I start panicking and get dressed. She runs inside and tries to talk to her mom whilst I'm in the garage sitting on the floor planning my funeral. So later in the day her dad and I are out in the backyard grilling and I'm just having an anxiety attack. He talks to me so casually and said that if later after dinner I can take him out for a ride again. I said sure, why not, and at this point I'm still dying inside because I have no clue if her mom told him what she saw. So dinner comes and we're at the table and her mom can't even look at either of us. It was the most awkward dinner I've ever had. So then after dinner my GF and her mom go clean up whilst I take her dad back out for a ride. When I get to the garage and go to open my door and he puts his hand on my shoulder and my heart drops and he says to me, "I know what happened, son. Don't let it happen again, not here." And he smiles at me and gets in the car and I just start freaking the butternut out. The drive was awkward at first but it got better. Still am freaked out the whole thing today. LDR, spent a few days at GF's parents' house. Her mom caught us zucchini up against my car and I'm now terrified of her dad. "Hey, he called you son, can't be irrecoverable." "I know what happened, son, don't let it happen again, not here." "Oh man, he played the long con. And you had it together enough not to crash after that. Good job." "Lamau, thanks." "What was wrong with your car?" "My front right suspension was too low and the dampening was off." "Well, at least he wasn't mad about it, so that's good. By the sounds of it he might like you." "Yeah, he's liked me a lot since I've met him a while ago, but I feel like this really doesn't bode well for me, you know? But who knows?